If your name is Rachel, this tarot card reading is for you. Instead of picking a stack, you're going to pick a deck. 1, 2, or 3. If your name is Rachel and you picked stack 1, that's this deck. The center card is going to be the problem that you are hoping to address. If you don't have anything specific, the central card is about what your priorities should be. And you see here we have the Page of Rods. Your first significator is the King of Cups. Your second significator, Death. Your underlying core problem or unchangeable difficulty, and your underlying natural strength that should be prioritized in dealing with this. So if you picked deck 1, what this tells us is that the matter of prioritization ought to be the Page of Sticks or Rods, which means being childish sort of, but active in your solution orientation. One significant factor is your mood and emotional correctness and stability, and shown in the King of Cups. Another significant factor is some pending large change. The underlying reality of that change is something very sad, but all you have to do is remember what's important to you with the Four of Pentacles and hold tightly to it, and everything will be okay. If your name is Rachel and you picked deck 2, here's your reading. The central card represents either the significant matter that you wanted to address, and or if you don't have a specific thing, then what priority you ought to address. This card is XX, which is 20. XX is judgment, which means the significant priority you ought to prioritize and or the significant factor you're considering is one that involves you making a determination, finalizing a decision, or otherwise engaging judgment. Your first significator is the number 1. Number 1 is the Magician card, which means you're going to use cleverness and intuition, creativity to resolve this matter of judgment. The other significator is the One of Swords. That further drives home that it's going to be some new logical path that you take to get there. The underlying difficulty or challenge that will be causing you struggle is the it's like the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords indicates that you'll have to use your logical thinking and such in ways that are quiet behind the scenes to successfully adjudicate this, not necessarily out front driving everybody else's narrative. And lastly, the implicit strength you bring to this question is the number 9. Wow, there's a lot of major arcanas here. 3 major arcanas out of 5 cards. And the Hermit seems to point the direction here for the Queen of Swords as once again doing the logic part kind of in isolation. And maybe don't involve too many people in your decision making. If you picked deck 3, then this is your reading. The central concern and or area of prioritization that you ought to prioritize is the 7 of Discs. For this deck, it refers to this card as being the 8 months pregnant card. You're just that close to something very dramatic happening and finality occurring. You feel like you're stuck waiting at the very end of a long wait. Your first significator is the 7 of Cups. This suggests some dreaminess or intuition an emotional sort is needed at the moment. It's a good way to wait out this last, perhaps, ending bit. The next indicator is one that fell out, temperance. This kind of goes along with Seven of Cups and the Seven of Discs, which is you're in a period of waiting. Don't party too hard or anything like that. Well, getting impatient. Let the process play out. The next card tells us your biggest challenges emerge from the Four of Wands. The Four of Wands tells us play, celebration, and rejoicing, rites of passage, spring, adolescent vitality. Now is not the time for that, as indicated by the Temperance and the Seven of Cups and the Seven of Discs. Your tendency to want to play is ill-timed at the moment. But here, your last card will tell you the strength that you bring to this problem. And the card is the Nine of Swords. The strength here is that you have the capacity to confront fear so that it becomes an ally. In this deck, there are no reversals, but since it was articulated as a strength in advance, we can assume we should treat it as a reversal. So, ultimately, what we learn is that by confronting your fears, you avoid the mistake of the Four of Wands, show some temperance, some emotional deftness, and successfully wait what remains to be waited out to good impact. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. Pick a card for Rachel's.